This is WCM's Park Update, a weekly show covering the outdoor hospitality industry, hosted by Ben Quiggle and Mike Gast. During each episode, you'll hear from special guests and campground experts on topics that will help your park flourish. WCM's Park Update is a production of Woodall's Campground Magazine.
Hi, I'm Ben Quiggle, editor of Woodall's Campground Magazine, and this is another edition of WCM's Park Update. Of course, my esteemed colleague, Mike Gast, former Vice President of Communications at Campgrounds of America, is here. And our guest today is Travis John, founder of CampersDAO, which is new to the industry, and it's kind of an interesting concept. He uses blockchain. He's using like a blockchain concept to raise money to buy an RV park or multiple RV parks. I guess it depends on how well things go. So
that's correct.
It's something I've never heard of before in the industry, kind of fundraising this way. I know we've talked with other investment groups that fundraise other ways, and so we kind of wanted to bring you on, Travis, just to talk a little bit about what you're doing. And I guess for a large part of the industry, some people might have questions just on the blockchain process. You mentioned, I think in your first press release, it's a Web3 community. I guess, can you just explain a little bit about what that all means?
Yeah. Ben is up on this a little bit. Now, I think he even owns a little crypto. I'm the wall. So talk to the wall, Travis.
Yeah.
You're trying to explain it to me.
Yeah,
well,
try to
first off,
how this works. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having me, Ben. Thanks for having me, Mike. Appreciate it. Yeah, this is exciting. As we talked before the show a bit, I certainly will keep this simple, and I think that's mainly, I'm coming at this not as a complete tech geek or engineer, really as in simple terms of how this makes our life better, and how it improves the process around fundraising, to purchase RV parks, as well as just the democratization of it, as well as the management of it. So what we're looking to do is sell 10,000 memberships that are RV, what I like to say is like RV visionaries, people that really typically avid RVers, they don't have to be full timers, but people that are really into the business and into RV parks. I've owned nearly every campground membership out there, discount pass, etc. So I know how a lot of these things work. Some of it, I'm really a big fan of, others I'm not. So I think where I saw this as an opportunity with the Web3 blockchain is I've been working in tech for more than 20 years, and the past couple of years in what is considered like Web3 or blockchain. And it's really just a evolution of technology, to put it simply. I mean, Web3 is essentially just the next stage of Web2. Web2 is the typical social media, buying things on Amazon. Web3 just adds another layer of transparency, really. It puts things more into the peer-to-peer opportunity, which is exactly what this is about, raising funds directly with people versus outside VCs and investors. And it's not to say that we wouldn't do that in the future with our scaling, and we could talk about that later. But ultimately, what we want is in Web3, people all have a voice. And that's the goal here, is to sell memberships where every one of our members have a voice. So they have, they're they're part of our advisory board. We don't have any other advisory board as part of this setup. Is all 10,000 of these RVers. We have two different memberships. These Web3 enthusiasts, they're basically able to join the network, buy a membership, and from that point on, they're able to have a say in the growth of the company, not just in purchasing the campground, which is obviously our ultimate goal, but in managing it, where it's going to be, even what it's going to be named. It doesn't have to be CampersDAO. So of course, like, we're looking to expand our footprint, as we evolve here as a membership.
Yeah, and you have on your and you have here. Sorry, I turned off my mic. You have here on your website, CampersDAO.com. You have the membership names, the Trailblazer membership and the Pioneer membership, and kind of the benefits that go along with that.
Right.
And so, I guess one of the questions I had is, are people going to be able to use money to buy this, or do they have to have cryptocurrency, or what is that like? I guess.
Well,
How do they
and
get these memberships?
yeah, exactly. And again, going back to, I'm all about keeping it simple. Like,
Yeah.
I always like to take, my whole career has been about taking tech and complexity and making it simple. So one of the things we're doing is we're not making this all about crypto geeks or, blockchain geeks. We have a credit card purchase option available, when we launch. So we've already set that technology up, and we have plenty of FAQs on our website as well, where people can look into the kind of deeper details. But ultimately, people can use a credit card just like they're buying something on Amazon, which is great. And that can go directly into a blockchain wallet, or a Web3 wallet, as we like to call it. We will be providing sufficient instruction training for people that are new to this. So this is definitely not just for the people that are diehards, because this is a very new tech, very new industry. It can be concerning, and there's a lot of safety that you have to take in, because you're essentially self-custodying a lot of these things. It's different where you just put your money in a bank and there's FDIC insurance, et cetera. Of course, here in the United States, where with blockchain and crypto, there's a lot of things are back on the ownership of the individual. You have many more rights as part of this, is why we're designing this, where people have a voice, but they also have to be in control of their membership. And what gives them a nice ability there is that membership then becomes an asset that they can sell, and it's managed on the blockchain. So,
yeah. And we'll have the link to the website in the description for the show, so people can click on that. And you have a bunch of FAQs that kind of tackle some of the top questions people might have. So I guess so you talk about the goal of buying an RV park. I guess, is this going to be an RV park that's like open to the public? Is it going to be like a members only RV park? Is it going to be something where members get like certain benefits? It is open to the public, but they get certain benefits. I guess, what's your goal once you get this RV park?
It's the last part of what you said. So it's going to be public RV park. It's just the members are going to have a significant benefit of being a member, of course, and they're going to have priority access, discounts on, significant discounts that are not available anywhere else, only to members. We're also doing annual free camping days, similar to other, kind of membership models, where people are going to, certain times of the year where there's free camping days available for people as well. So there's a significant amount of benefits from the RV park, the physical part, but then we obviously will have additional industry partnerships and other things that we're doing. We can talk about in a moment too. But from the sense of the RV park, yes, they'll have priority access, priority, bookings, discounts. So they'll really benefit significantly from that. But we obviously, as a community, we want to grow. So we're going to have this open to the public. We don't want to have this to be only for the 10,000 members, of course.
And the goal is to purchase the campground through the membership funds, correct? Or is there other additional funding that may come into play?
No, that's correct. I mean, we, rough ballpark, we're looking to bring in, between $6 and $7 million from this membership sales. And then that would be our, the catalyst into the first RV park purchase. And as you guys know, I mean, this podcast is for industry pros. So, we obviously we won't be paying cash for the RV park. We're going to be probably looking at a pretty similar 20 to 30% down model. The DAO, this is probably a good place to interject this, is, this blockchain project is on a spectrum, and anyone that says blockchain or Web3 is like, an all or nothing thing isn't really, doing real world projects. Like, this is a real world project. We're still going to have a corporation that owns the real estate. That's, a standard United States corporation, of course, that owns the real assets and has a bank account, normal things like that, which is required. That's going to be the legal requirement of doing that. So we're going to have 20 to 30% down. Obviously expensive RV parks most likely that our members are going to want to seek out are likely going to be in that 10 million plus range in a price range, is just my estimate so far.
Okay. Yeah.
So you've got 10,000 memberships available here. Is that a magic number? Does it only work if you have a limit like that? No,
I mean, I do believe in the Web3 world. I mean, 10,000 has been kind of a a round number people have used for memberships, like with a few companies that have kind of done this so far. I mean, we're definitely trailblazing a brand new path in blockchain and such. And, this is being done in the golf business right now for a golf course. It's being done in a few other areas that are, here in the United States, which is similar. So we're not completely, and I've been involved in a lot of these other projects as well. So, I mean, we're not completely, blazing a path that isn't already working. So we found that to work as well. But 10,000 is just a great number. It has a really nice scarcity aspect to it as well, because we really want these memberships to be a true asset. Like, as we know, like campground memberships, there's really no such thing as one that's valuable and you can resale these days, unfortunately. I mean, you get discounts and stuff, but having it actually be an asset where you can sell it 24/7, on the blockchain to anyone without any red tape, you don't have to get anyone's permission. We really want these assets to be significantly valuable. It's not financial advice, of course, but the 10,000 is really a great number because it allows us to have a close-knit community, but not too big that, we don't really have the personalization and the homey feel that we're looking for.
So what sets this apart from a timeshare operation?
Well, this is quite a bit different because we're not, number one, this isn't an ownership thing. This is 100% advisory board focused. With timeshares, you have no say. Just like campground memberships currently, there's not a campground membership where you truly have any say in anything that happens. This is truly a community-driven project where the core leaders, again, this goes back to like the foundation of decentralization and blockchain is sometimes it just says, let everyone be in charge, like the community be in charge. What we've seen is for the most part, the success still relies on a core team and a leader that has a vision, and the community will execute on the vision of the community as well. So ultimately, this is significantly different because we're not selling ownership. We're also not selling, fractions of anything. It's 100% a community-driven project of what would you envision if you're an RV visionary? What would you want as an RV park? Where would you want it to be? What would you want it to look like? What kind of amenities would be there? What kind of events would you want to hold? All those things are in control now of these 10,000 members. And we're going to, as the core team and myself, would carry that out, and follow the vision of what they want.
Okay, say that I want to be a trailblazing member. What do I need to do to be a trailblazing member? Is there a set amount of money that we have to get transferred over to you to get going?
Yeah. So the Trailblazer members are going to be, it's a $500 membership. So it's really reasonable. It's a lifetime membership, significant amount of benefits, as you can see on the website. And we've covered some of them already, but there's no annual fees. There's no monthly fees. There's no annual dues. There's no gotchas. You own it. It's on the blockchain. You own an NFT, which is, also known as a non-fungible token, which is a unique, every single one of those memberships, there's 10,000, there's never any more. And again, the goal is for that membership to be something that's very valuable, that you're in control of, that you can give it to your kids, grandkids, you can give it to your family members, you can sell it, and we're even looking at ways to let people rent them as well, which is completely available on the blockchain. So if you're not going to use your membership for a year or 6 months or something, you can actually rent it and get income for letting people use that and get the perks, which is all, again, through the blockchain. So it's really, the best way to run a business. I mean,
once you've got these 10,000 memberships sold, then then you're going to have to operate on what the capital you're generating on the campground. Then it's going to have to be self-generated, because you're not going to have any more membership money coming in, correct?
Right. Well, and we're not going to have any additional memberships. The other membership is the Pioneer membership, which is our higher tier, which provides some additional benefits we can talk about as well. But yes, that's true. And we will look at and consider outside funding. We are also launching most likely a secondary digital membership, which would not involve any campground perks at all, or any voting. So they're not going to have any governance around the project at all. So that would be probably a significantly lower barrier of entry, might be something like the $100 range or something like that. So we would have some level of that, where that could be a significant driver of revenue, where that might be something that could even be an annual fee. Our founding members, we call our Genesis membership here, is there's no gotchas. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves with campground memberships is, not mentioning any names, but they're always evolving, and they typically undermine every member that bought any legacy one prior to that. And particularly because this is on the blockchain, this is all controlled. All the voting is on the blockchain. It's all transparent. So our members are complete control. Our founding members will be the founding members forever. Again, they can transfer their membership and sell it or rent it as they see fit, but they're in complete control, which is great. If we offer a digital membership, which is a little more like what we see at other in other kind of camping passes these days, that would be an additional revenue stream for us. And we are looking, we certainly will not avoid outside financing for scale. So we want to we want to buy 1 or 2 campgrounds through our current Genesis offering, and then from there, if the community feels, hey, let's try to get 12 campgrounds in the next 8 years, like how do we do that? We're going to look at outside funding. That's a very likely choice for us at that point.
So I guess, is there profit sharing with these 10,000 people? Like, do they get some of the profits from the park, or is that not how it works?
No, that's not how it works. I mean,
okay.
and really legally, there's the way to do this. There's really not a way that is even ethical in any way at this point. Like ownership and profit sharing in this type of community, as soon as you exceed about 100 people legally with any kind of ownership or profit sharing, it becomes really a significant barrier of legal protection at that point. So really the safest, and again, there are a few companies doing this that are already kind of trailblazers in this industry that are seeing this play out. So it's ultimately best that everyone just has a voice. What we're looking to do is flip the script and give everyone the voice and give everyone a massive amount of benefits. So indirectly, they're getting all of that profit sharing, but it's not in the sense of money. Now, that said, we do have a paid option. So our founding members are going to be our team members. Like this, there's no question about it. So our core team members are going to be hired from the community, number one. Number two, we also have a participate to earn program where we have a total of 5 or 6 different pods, essentially, where all of our core operations of our company are run. That'll be done by the 10,000 members, not all 10,000, but they'll be invited. There may be 200 or 300 that are involved in the core operations of our company, and they'll all be getting paid to do that. So we're creating job opportunities, people that are full-timers, maybe they're out and they're looking for additional income and they're involved in this project. This is a significant way for them to earn actual real money for being involved in the project. So like to flip on what you're saying, there are ways to obviously get paid. It's just not profit sharing.
Okay. Well, I think we have to take a break real quickly to recognize our sponsor, but we'll be back in a few seconds to chat more with Travis. WCM's Park Update is being brought to you by Woodall's Campground Magazine. For over 5 decades, Woodall's Campground Magazine has aimed to provide park owners and operators with the relevant industry news they need to run their businesses more efficiently. As times have changed, so has Woodall's Campground Magazine. Besides just its print publication, which is distributed to more than 14,000 industry professionals every month, the magazine also reaches readers through its various social media platforms, including Facebook at WoodallCM, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Woodall's Campground Magazine also offers a daily e-blast which highlights the top news from the industry. The best part, everything we do is advertiser supported and free to our readers. As the outdoor hospitality industry continues to grow at a rapid pace, it is important to stay up to date on trends and other relevant news. Subscribe to Woodall's Campground Magazine at woodallscm.com. Welcome back to WCM's Park Update. We're talking with Travis John, owner of CampersDAO, which is utilizing some blockchain fundraising methods, hoping to buy an RV park. We've been talking a little bit about how that whole process works. So we left, I guess, before the commercial break, we talked a little bit about the profit, like whether there was profit sharing or not. I guess, so who makes the general profits then from this company, I guess? So who's going to benefit the most from the profits, I guess?
Well, our company that we set up is certainly going to be the main corporation, that has a profit and loss. Our The decision-making will still come from the community, of course. So ultimately how that money's spent, what we're using to do that,
Okay.
how much, how I get paid, how much I get paid, all those types of things are being voted on the blockchain. And, we're using what I'll call DAO tools, decentralized autonomous organization tools that are all proposals that are on the blockchain that'll say, do we want to pay these 300 members, this is how much budget we need to pay for these 300 members to be part of our, participation community to get paid. How are we paying Travis? How are we paying the community members? So all of those things are part of that process. So the decentralized organization is driving the, is driving that, it's essentially funneling that money back and forth. The real world corporation, of course, is required for legal reasons to have a normal profit and loss and, have, real world owners, not anyone, that's being private or, so everyone needs to know who owns a company, et cetera.
So Travis, give me an example of the type of operational decisions that this membership base would be involved in. How deep could they go in the day-to-day operation of the park?
Really as deep as the imagination can imagine, really. Ultimately, this starts from, from kind of starting from square one. We're raising the money. Some of the initial proposals are going to be pretty similar, like how we structuring the community, with our 5 pods, who's going to get involved in those. I have a framework I've already kind of set up that I feel is like a best practice, but ultimately they're going to vote on where we want our first campground to be. I think that's the most exciting thing. Like, we're all kind of most excited about this. This project is mainly framed around the opportunity for RV visionaries to have a say in an actual campground. Like it really feels great to say, hey, I was part of this community that was able to pick a campground in X United States and name it, pick what amenities are going to be there. How much, do we need to do a whole redo, even to the possibility of buying, land and just, building a new campground. So it starts from the very beginning of what we're trying to achieve of buying a campground, like, and what that RV park looks like, how many spots, what are the fees like, what kind of amenities and buildings are going to be there. And even to the point of like, what kind of events we're going to hold, rallies, et cetera. So it's endless.
So they could be determining like whether they're going to have a management company that operates the park or whether they just hire employees to run the park and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, that should be pretty interesting. There's a lot of moving pieces to running an RV park. So
Ben and I know a lot of campground owners, and they typically aren't democracies out there. So this is
no,
they're pretty much the dictatorships, and a lot of folks like it that way. So it's really going to be interesting to see this evolve as a concept.
Yeah. Well, and our one of the things that kind of is the flip side of this is where we like to kind of, again, pour benefits back to our members. Is the other side of this is we are starting essentially a side project that is just part of this project as a whole, called Campers Voice. And what this is our 10,000 members, our founding members, they're the voice of our growth, of our vision of what we're going to buy, what we're going to do, how we're going to manage it. Who wants to work for us internally, who wants to be a participating member, get paid, or who just wants to vote. Like, you have that choice. Like, you may just want to buy it and rent it because, you're just like, I know this is going to be worth money. And, maybe you're not even an RVer. Like, there are going to be people that buy this, some member, that are just blockchain geeks that are just like, this is really cool. I just want to own it. I don't even own an RV. I live in Europe, or something, because, we're launching this here in the United States. But so I've already communicated with people that are probably in that category, but for the most part, our members are going to be the RV visionaries here in the United States that want to see this, thrive, and they want to be the voice of making this happen. But Campers Voice is taking this to the campgrounds that are out there. As you mentioned, Mike, I think the campgrounds will really appreciate the input from our 10,000 members. So what we're doing is we're priming the actual formula of 10,000 people buying an RV park, managing an RV park, having the say in all these things. And we're now flipping the script as well. Aside from flipping the script as a couple of times here, as we're talking about with how all this business works, is we're going to now most likely for a free or even a very limited cost service to other campground owners who are looking for a voice where we can provide that as a service, and our members are just going to get discounts on their camping fees and, early, whether it, perks, whether it's discounts or perks or just, early check-ins, etc. So ultimately what we're trying to do is allow our members to continue to benefit from this, because we know, I mean, even with our growth, and I do believe this is very likely going to happen, is, we'll be in 10 years, we'll be at 10 or 12 nice RV resorts that our campers have explicitly driven the bus to get there and driven the RV to they're in the driver's seat of what we're going to do. But clearly that's not enough. So being the voice for other campgrounds, I think, is really like the natural progression here. And nobody's doing that as well. Like, really, our RVers are going to be able to have a say in other campgrounds where many of them are, as you know, there's a lot of independent owners out there and they don't really know exactly what to do. Our RVers will go to their park, we'll do a campground audit, we'll give them feedback. This is completely all on the positive. Like, how do you improve your membership? What are your camping fees like? All those things that our RVers will do just in exchange for some additional perks.
So the goal is to, well, you got to buy the first one. And then I think the additional goal would be potentially to buy more parks down the road, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
From the profits of the first park, or are you going to do additional membership drives for other parks potentially, or what does that look like to fund?
Yeah, I mean, we don't suspect we'll need to do that. I mean, I think we'll have enough money most likely to, between the revenue from the first park, again, we have 10,000 people and a team focused on getting this right. As you know, there's a lot of factors that go into successfully running RV park. I'm confident we will do that well. That money and the down payment to go to the next park and the next park, we do feel like we'll have sufficient leverage and income and finances to do that for at least 3 parks. Outside financing might be needed at 3 or 4 as we start scaling, and that's where we'll let the community decide how we want to achieve that. It's not going to be through a membership drive that's undermining anything that our founding members, as we mentioned, are involved in. We're not providing any additional voices into our company. This is it.
So once the 10,000 memberships are spoken for and they're in the bank, so to speak, they are an asset of that member. They own it. They can transfer it, as you said. They can family member can inherit it after passing, yep. Or they resell it. And so after those 10,000 fixed memberships are sold, doesn't that pretty much read that the original $500 membership is going to be worth more as this evolves? And are you guys have any controls in there for what these people are selling these for?
None. That's the beauty of the blockchain. So, we're not creating new memberships. We're not diluting it. We're not, we're only pouring value back, and we're only giving them the voice of control. So, ultimately, again, it's like, I don't like to make financial predictions, but the goal of this is to make these extremely valuable. I mean, I'm sure you guys can see that, as you mentioned, Mike. I mean, the goal of this is it has a very finite amount. We know that even just in the US alone, I mean, there's close to 1 million full-time RVers, so 10,000 memberships is a very small number of RV visionaries that I think are really going to see a true value in this membership. And, the opportunity to have a voice and really be in the driver's seat is, I mean, it's just something I wish, I think most people that build successful businesses, they're building it for themselves. They're solving a problem for themselves. Like this is a problem that I've had and something that I'm equipped to solve. And, I think, I don't want to make financial predictions because that's not appropriate, but yeah, I do expect them to be of significant value in the future. Yes.
It's difficult to get small groups of people to agree on anything nowadays. So is there any scenario for you get 10,000 people and their conflicts arise? How do these types of things solve themselves in a situation? Let's say, you're trying to do this democracy and conflicts are, do those situations pop up? How do you deal with those?
I mean, of course, with any community, you're going to have, situations where you've got to work through them. What's nice about the decentralized model is all of our voting, everything, all the decisions, of any importance are going to be on the blockchain, and they're put as proposals out to the community, and they can vote with their wallet address, which is how, they'll connect essentially into our community through their wallet. Again, can still be, they can purchase through credit card or crypto. We're using Ethereum, which is, really significantly, was the biggest, number one blockchain, but it's also has the significant footprint around most of the major Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies they're implementing blockchain already in NFTs.
So, I mean, I guess it's definitely unique. So, and it's very interesting. It'll be very interesting to see how this thing progresses and how the community just kind of comes together and votes on these kind of things and how the park operates. So, I mean, it's definitely something we've never seen before.
Well, thank you. And I'll add, one of the benefits of owning the Pioneer membership, aside from having some additional access and some additional perks, is that has a 4 advisory board seats. So going back to your question, I don't think I fully answered that. So, but obviously, voting is a key part of us coming up with a democratized process. And if you own the higher tier membership, you have 4 times the amount of voting power than somebody that has a Trailblazer membership. So, if that's most important to somebody, they will own that for some of the other benefits, most likely, but they're also going to own it because they'll have more say in where the project goes.
Yeah, definitely. What kind of, and so does the type of park you guys may purchase, that is probably going to be voted on too, to some degree, like whether you're going to get a park with like a Jellystone type park, or whether you're going to get like a smaller, whatever, the type of park probably is voted on as well too, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I know that it's most likely the community is not going to want the, interstate type 1 where it's, just plug in, rest and recover kind of place. Like, we're that's kind of an obvious point here, because we're looking at vision areas of like how we can make this like a really grand, opportunity for everyone. So ultimately it would probably be a little more amenity rich and less about kind of like plugging in, recharging kind of along the way type of stop. But again, it goes back to like, I'm not in charge of that. Like, the community is really in charge of driving this, forward.
So you really could end up with a really nice snowbird park in Florida.
Yeah. I mean, that's very possible. And probably very likely in the Southeast where, I do think year-round camping is going to be the community, a main driver of the community, like of where we can have year-round camping. Of course, there are places where, there's year-round camping where it's cold, but ultimately I think, some of the Southeast certainly makes a lot of sense for sure.
I think it's important to note too, before we wrap up this episode, that you have not started taking payments for memberships. That doesn't happen until Earth Day, which is April 22nd.
Right.
Which on your website is 80 days, 9 hours, and 22 minutes away. So you got a little countdown going on.
Yeah.
And then that's when people can buy memberships. How fast do you think the memberships are going to go? I know a lot of this stuff generates a lot of interest, so they potentially could sell pretty quickly, I guess. I
mean, that's our goal. I mean, we feel like there's a significant demand for this type of new way of doing things. So, and at that point, of course, once they sell out, we're going to have a secondary market where if there are people that buy, more than one, we do have a limit to the number that people can buy per wallet, just because we want the community to be as diverse as possible. We don't want a bunch of investors coming in and buying a bunch of memberships and then not having a lack of voice in the community. But there will be a secondary market available on OpenSea, which is a well-known NFT blockchain platform that's a marketplace where people can buy them. So ultimately, you'd be able to buy one if for some reason you missed out on the launch.
And then, so where will people be able to go to buy these? Are they going to just come to this website that you guys have, or are they going to have to go somewhere else? Or
yeah, it'll be directly on our website. There'll be very clear instructions of what to do and where to go. it will be a specific page where they can connect their wallet or use their credit card and get started.
And then I guess you noted earlier in the episode where they've been doing this in the golf industry. There's like a golf course, I guess, or in some other ones. I guess, how successful have those been in the, have they been pretty successful?
They have. I mean, the golf one is I've been involved with for about a year. That they're approaching their first purchase right now of their first golf course, a pretty significant one for that matter. I mean, and again, with some of these, there is some NDAs involved in some of the, when they're looking at courses, because they don't want to drive up the price. They don't want to drive up the price of what the course is, et cetera. But that's actually gone really well. That community is a similar size, about 10,000 people. Their membership prices have increased in value, so, I can reference that in the sense of how that's worked, but it's significant. I mean, the community's really active. I've been involved in voting on projects, et cetera. So, I mean, this isn't something that I've dreamed up completely. They've been a strong trailblazer in this area, just a different industry. And they have significant partnerships, Callaway, some really large partnerships that we expect to do as well in the campground industry and pass those membership benefits on to our members.
Yeah, and there have been some, some slightly high profile crypto things in the news and collapses and scams. How's that trust thing in this area right now? I mean, do you find that people are still pretty trusting and want to invest in stuff like this, or do they, how do I Travis, you look like a great guy, but how do I know you're not going to run to the Bahamas with my $500? So.
I hear you. The amount of scandals in the crypto business is outrageous. It's frustrating, but anytime there's opportunity and new things without a little bit of regulation, there tends to be people that are doing the wrong things, and it's unfortunate. But the one thing that I could say is the demand is still massive. The technology is proven, and we're not selling cryptocurrency, so we're not even remotely involved in that. This is an NFT, which is on the blockchain. We're selling a membership as an asset. So, we're very far away from that. And certainly, yes. I mean, and I've mentioned in some of my press releases, I mean, there's an amount of trust that needs to be in me and what I'm doing to take the leap. But ultimately, the community is going to be driving this. I'm a public figure. I'm out there. People know who I am. There's no anonymous thing. It's all very clear who I am and what I'm doing and where we're going as a community. So I think that speaks volumes as well. But that's a good question. I mean, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's always it's always something that, especially now, there's been in the past 3-4 months, there's been some really unusual cryptocurrency things in the news. So. Yeah.
So viewers of the program can learn more at CampersDAO.com. And there's a neat video you have on there. Thanks, Travis, for coming on the show. And
it's fascinating stuff, Travis. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
So what's one more last question? What's the earliest, I know you got a lot of things to figure out, but what's the earliest possible time when somebody's going to be able to roll their rig into your first park?
Well, I think from our experience, even with the golf community, I think, we're going to look at probably 12 months, potentially. That being said, I mean, the real estate market is, I think, a little more opportunistic than that has been. So I think this is good timing. I've already been, putting the feelers out and seeing what's going on out there in what parks are available and what's happening, obviously working closely with industry folks who have feet on the street. But so it could happen, really as quickly as we find the right match for what our community wants. It could take a year. I don't think it'll take any more than that, I guess, to answer your question.
Okay.
I think 6 months is probably the earliest. A year is probably the latest, if that, giving you more of a bumper of where that looks like.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I know Mike is going to be hitting the road here soon.
And Ben's probably digging into his crypto wallet right now and getting his funding together.
Yeah. So he needs somewhere to park his rig. So, but it was great to see you, Travis. Maybe I'll run into you in person down the road at different events or something. It was great to
Look forward to
learn
that.
about the blockchain and what you guys are working on, and we'll look forward to getting more updates as this thing progresses. So
Absolutely.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Look forward to providing them to you guys, and pleasure again. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Ben.
yeah, and
Thank you,
thanks
Travis.
everyone for watching. Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to WCM's Park Update, a production of Woodall's Campground Magazine. Join us for a new show each Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn for daily news and updates, and subscribe to our news feed on our website at woodallscm.com. Show hosts are Ben Quiggle and Mike Gast. Executive producers Rick Kessler and Alex Burkett. Copyright 2022, G&G Media Group.